Welcome to the Monarchist Minute. I'm your host, William Stout, and here I have a panel of four. We have Georges P., formerly Watercube, Leon Krowski, I can't pronounce his last name, and a member from our audience, Artyom Palmerica. Hello, everyone. How are you doing this evening?
I'm chilling.
I'm doing
Good.
okay.
Good. Nice to hear
I'm
from
doing
you.
fine.
Nice to hear
Big
from you.
vibing.
So, tonight is going to be a certified MOA Yap session. We have no definitive topics, and we are just here to talk about whatever. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like, the only thing I kind of want to talk about is that, like, weird Nazi cult thing associated with Doge, but I'm like, I don't even know what to make of that. I haven't verified it. I feel like Joe Rogan's speaking about it.
Well, you've already opened the can of worms, so go off.
Okay, apparently the guy who resigned from Doge recently, like the 19-year-old, was it the 25-year-old who resigned, or like there's some kid in Doge?
I know, absurdly young for in such a prominent government position.
Yeah. I'm honestly getting DeSantis staffer flashbacks. But like he was associated with the .com group, which is basically like an online sextortion group. All they do is like blackmail kids. They make like they do pedophile shit. That's like, not to get too deep into it, but they're also associated with Order of Nine Angles, which is the neo-Nazi terrorist organization that works with the FSB.
So we should be very, very concerned.
Yeah, worrying developments. Like, if true, I've only seen one real news article going into it, and the person seemed to have a grudge against some of the people that are in like the DOGE. But I wouldn't be surprised, especially with the people who are ideated to get into government. They're most and have been on the internet from a young age. It's not that surprising.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. I mean, I just gotta agree with you. I do wonder how serious these people are about their Nazi ideologies, or they're just edgy. Like, I'm genuinely not sure.
Order of Nine Angles seems like so edgy, like, oh, they're just being edgy and shit. But they're like, they act on their edginess. Like, they act out everything. Like, it's how they make child sex abuse material. They act on their edginess, essentially, which is like, these people are serious. These people act like they're a terrorist organization in the United States. They're a terrorist organization in a lot of parts of Europe, and also like viewed as like a mafia or a syndicate, because they are also associated with organized crime and human trafficking. The .com one is an online like angle from that. That's like how the Doge people are brought in.
You know, ever since his inauguration, the more I watch the people Trump surrounded him with, the more I notice that Elon Musk is a detriment to his administration more than it is a benefit.
Like, I think it's kind of clear that Musk kind of thought he would be in charge through Trump.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even if like Trump knew this was going to happen or whatever, or if Musk is actually in charge now. Musk assumed he's basically effectively in charge. He gets to run the country.
Yeah. Because I remember Musk is like, he's not American, so it's just the easiest way for him to be closest to president.
This is the only way for him to be close to the president.
So basically, our current thought process is Musk is filling the role of the gray eminence, the man who's behind the throne that might as well be sitting in it.
Yeah, like, you know how like Nazi Germany, Soviet Union, Communist China, they have like party states?
Yeah.
We have like a tech state where it's whatever Musk and his allies like Peter Thiel and like that kind of pseudo-libertarian, pseudo-dark enlightenment like spectrum of the internet, along with all the other tech billionaires that are now lining up to basically kiss Trump's ring.
Yeah. But again, I didn't say, I thought this comparison earlier, but Elon is basically just like a much worse version of Otto von Bismarck.
Like, Otto von Bismarck actually had a government position. Musk isn't actually in the government. He's a contractor.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, fair point.
I would never insult Otto von Bismarck like that again, please.
My bad.
Otto von Bismarck might have been a queen, but like he's a little girly pop, as portrayed in Fall of Eagles, but he's not as dramatic as Musk.
So
No,
what
definitely
do
not.
we think the long-term consequences of Musk is going to be? Let's be honest.
Depends on if he can succeed or not.
No, it's like not even if he fails, there'll still be a huge breach in the system, and I would not put it beyond one of like the 18 to 30 something year olds in Doge to leak all the information they got from OPM.
So basically, what we're seeing here is that Trump inadvertently, by giving Musk this much authority, he's inadvertently created a time bomb on all U.S. institutions.
Yes, he's endangered everyone that's in those institutions just to the bare minimum of like identity theft. Like,
or leaking classified documents and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The Bismarck comparison is kind of bad and doesn't work. If you want a comparison, think of like Game of Thrones with like King Joffrey and then like his grandpa.
I think you're probably right.
Tywin Lannister as Hand of the King, and this like conflict between them.
Yeah, I think you're right. And like, well, it wasn't meant to be an insult to Bismarck. It was just meant to compare like they're both kind of running the government behind the leader.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, we're just razzing you for that comparison.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
You're right.
But like, other good comparison would probably be the Emperor of Mexico. The one that was the liberal.
That's like, you mean Maximilian?
Yeah, the one the French in charge. Yeah, the Habsburg. Yeah. Like him. Yeah, that one. And how like basically the people below him like would just kind of do their own thing and have the real power.
I would kind of disagree with that, and that's just my like history node coming in. It's like the situation with like Maximilian in Mexico was the same as Joseph Bonaparte in Spain, where he was basically just given the capital, and then like foreign generals, the Napoleon's top men would be out in the country just like taking charge of like everything else for the sake of the war.
Okay, maybe the comparison for that is like for March. Depending on how well Musk does.
Well, what I'm looking for here is what kind of institutional destruction this is going to, because this might be the thing that starts repelling us toward our late Republican era. This kind of, because if Doge, as you said, George, causes this much institutional destruction and just eroding the trust and eroding the strength of our institutions, we could see a spiral very quickly into our late Republican era.
Like, I saw a comparison on some political Discord server I'm in, where like Trump's not Caesar. Trump's not a Caesarian figure. He's like Gaius Marius.
Yeah.
He's a conservative and to some degree a reactionary, wanting to go back to when like the Republic was great, and he's trying to keep it static. It's why like putting down like the Brothers Gracchi and such. Was that the same period? I might be getting the Marian
Marius
Wars.
Came after the Gracchi brothers.
Wasn't he like still alive at the time he witnessed that?
Yeah,
He had a reaction to that.
That whole late Republican period of Rome, from like the Gracchi brothers to Marius to Sulla to Caesar and the Triumvirate. I mean, it's all like back to back. It takes place like every generation back to each other. So
was Occupy Wall Street our Gracchi?
Remembers the reaction of the actions of the previous generation.
Yeah.
So basically, what we can learn from that is once things go downhill, they will continue to go downhill fast.
Probably.
We will have the American Civil War, and out of it, we will get the American Cursus Honorum with a progressive military dictatorship.
I would say it's more likely to happen is that you just have like a Napoleon or a Caesar rise in America.
No. We have to follow the patterns. There's going to be like a parody of Sulla rise up.
I feel like we're more likely to have a sort of what was the I feel disappointed in myself. I forget the French dude's name. He was the
Robespierre.
He was what? What did you say?
He fought with the resistance. He was the main leader of the resistance.
De Gaulle?
Yeah, De Gaulle. I feel like we're gonna have more of a De Gaullean dictatorship where it'll be a dictatorship, but it'll be one based solely on trying to restore and maintain the Republican status quo.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
Like Republican,
comparison.
like the Republic, or Republican like the GOP.
The Republic.
Oh, okay.
You could actually argue that Charles de Gaulle was like a French Sulla. Interestingly enough, then I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Because like Sulla is all about the restoration and also stopping this from ever happening again, and then like it happens again.
Yeah, because he didn't go all the way through. He was like a classical conservative in that sense, in that he tried to restore what was great, and then but like made no attempt to try and like consolidate it outside of like the cost of him.
Sulla also inadvertently created the conditions for it to happen again when he created the precedence of just forcibly declaring yourself dictator in order to push through reform.
I mean, that's debatable. I mean, Marius kind of did that too.
Yeah, Marius did it
Right
first.
before him. The two of them kind of like ate off each other. Oh, not ate off each other. What's that thing that's called? The called?
Feed off
They
each
did
other?
like
They feed off. They fed off each other. Yeah, thank you.
It's kind of like the whole thing between the papacy and the German, like the first Holy Roman Empire, and like who's in charge.
I guess in a very, if you
in a very
that,
broad stroke, like just that symbiosis part.
Oh yeah, the symbiosis.
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I can at least theoretically. I mean, if Trump and Musk are gonna like gut the entire federal government, I mean, you're gonna see a lot of people pissed off because it's essentially like what Reagan and Thatcher did times 10 in every respect. Because now we have a larger population, more social services being cut, a bigger bureaucracy being gutted, and it's just gonna create conditions for people to be unsatisfied and shit.
They're going after OSHA.
I'm actually somewhat looking forward to this gutting of everything, not because I'm a libertarian and not because I'm an accelerationist, but because the US, when we do reforms, we seem to have this nasty, disgusting habit of piling new legislation on top of old legislation without getting rid of the old legislation. So I'm in the department of just throw everything out and start from scratch, and I feel like this would be a good way to clean the slate.
But like the issue with it is that like you can't start from scratch with most of this stuff. Like when it's an entrenched institution, where when you rip it out, like unless you're willing to like cause like short-term suffering for long-term gains, which,
I mean, I was speaking about it with some of the guys earlier, and it's like, so if you want to restart the whole thing from scratch, like think about how many laws that you would have to essentially purge. I mean, even if it was just for like a week or a month, think of how many civil and criminal cold cases would just be on hold. And then it's like, what do the judges and the lawyers do? If there's no law for them to go for guidelines or anything, what do? The whole system like paralyzes.
Yeah. One thing I hope they abolish though is like building codes. I think that'd be awesome.
That would be nice.
And
I doubt it though, because if there's anyone who's in Trump's camp, it's the bloody NIMBYs.
Yeah, but like if they abolished like zoning and certain codes, like that'd be awesome. I'd love just to build Kowloon walled city.
I don't know. I would just like to see mixed-use buildings become bigger in the U.S. again, because we have a real nice downtown in my town, but I need more. I need more.
Yeah, like that would be nice, but
I need us to destroy some of these parking lots in America and just replace them with nice lofts and businesses on ground level. We used to have a skate park downtown, and now it's a parking lot.
We used to build things.
Yeah. I do have a question. What do you guys think of? What do you think Elon's political ideology actually is?
I think, like, I don't know. The only way to describe him is meta-modern. Like,
what exactly is meta-modern?
Meta-modernism is kind of one of the like not newest, but like kind of new reactions to postmodernism, where it oscillates between the like irony of postmodernism, the ironic engagement with things, the playfulness, like where it's kind of not that serious. It questions everything. It doesn't really have meaning to it. And then modernism, where things do have meanings. There's genuine belief, there's genuine feelings, there's grand narratives you can buy into, and going between those 2 points constantly. Like, people ironically posting about their genuine beliefs can be considered meta-modern.
I don't know, I feel like his beliefs are, outside of his own personal things, like, you have to, as a businessman, it's going to impact him. You want more effective system, so therefore slim down the government, keep the essentials so that you can up profits and results. Such, I feel there has to be some kind of influence him growing up in, what was it, like the 80s and 90s, in like the effects of like the Reagan Thatcher kind of like got everything kind of conservatism, plus his own like English Dutch heritage in South Africa, where you had like the whole like the envy of apartheid. There's gotta be like influences there that deeply impacted him.
Well, like I think he also plays into like the trend of like the tech bro, more like tech company trend towards like technofeudalism, where it's like you engage, you feed the algorithm, they find stuff to sell you, you buy it online, you have like your personal burrito taxi.
Well, yeah, that's probably the tech stuff too. Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. I just think we're entering our next age of robber barons, where it's just gonna be a bunch of rich people carving up their own little fiefdoms of political influence.
Well, like that's the whole idea behind it, though. It's like it's what the Arvanites are talking about with patchwork. Like, as far as the neo-reactionaries are concerned, though, that Gilded Age is them achieving their ideological goals, and also combine that with how I've been seeing the leftists like talking about the term technofeudalism, which I mentioned earlier, where we are kind of all expected to produce content on certain social media platforms if you engage with social media. It's like the pressure for us to publish on Substack or make YouTube videos or make the podcast or whatever, because that's generating views on a website that is not our own, where we don't fully own what we create. The same goes for like Discord. We're here at the will of Discord. If they decided you've gone out of your lease, they can just expunge us. And we're kind of entering an age of that with how integrated Walmart, like online shopping, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, well, like all of Meta and all of Twitter and almost all of social media just kind of buys into this, where you have to engage with it, produce your own, also use it to sell you stuff to consume, where we're both the product and the thing being sold. Trading identity for use.
reality.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like that's just going to increase further. And when we're like fed by the algorithm always plays into our worst vices or our worst feelings, because that's what engages us the most.
So how do we break free?
Same thing. The British walkers in the early 1800s. What were they called? The Luddites.
The Luddites.
The Luddites.
We're gonna start smashing computers like Ted fucking K,
like Patrick Starr.
But like the guy who came up with the original term, he was like the finance minister for Greece during the worldwide recession. Is that like techno-feudalism, because it's interconnective and it's just another form of capitalism, like it kind of creates the news you can hang it with, where it's everyone's connected, you can actually protest and organize online. But I also don't really buy into that, because online spaces, if people act like they're making real change online, they're not actually changing anything most of the time.
Right. There's always that huge gap between
online activism and posting in real life, change.
Yeah.
Which is something that we strive to surpass, and that's why we do things like the March for Life trip.
Yeah.
There's always going to be like a more genuine impact when it's like real life gatherings and stuff. Which I know that sounds like dumb to say, but like after a point, people are just like online talking and like chatting, yapping and all that. It doesn't limit. I mean, realistically, you could just turn it off and that's it.
Yeah, and also like Discord intrigue. The fact that Patriot Front was founded because of a Discord coup d'etat.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no, Vanguard America during the Charlottesville Unite the Right protest underwent a coup by the leader of what became Patriot Front, changing the server and kicking the main leader of Vanguard America, who was like some old NSM head, so he doesn't know how fucking computers or Discord work, which lost him control of the organization.
Discord politics impacts real life. Let no one tell you otherwise.
Discord politics. Oh God.
Discord politics is real. We've had 2 shooters to prove it.
And crush versus love debate to prove it as well. Well, yeah, that.
You guys think we're just gonna all be downloaded into like the computers by the end of the century?
I refuse. I will not be put into the singularity. I like my physical form way too much.
I'm sorry, Will. Yarvin will be turning you into sludge.
I'd rather die sludge than be a machine.
Like, the worst thing about this, like, the whole coming age of just, like, tech dominance over politics, like, that's kind of embodied in Elon Musk, is just, like, they're kind of just gonna they're gonna treat us like The Sims.
You know, but at the same time, I also have this theory that Yarvin and all the tech bros are gonna unequivocally destroy themselves. And I think I've stated this before on the Twitter, but basically the problem is Yarvin and the tech bros misunderstand their own position in a neo-feudalist society, and that they control the wealth, but they don't necessarily control the strength. And so the inevitable problem is when push comes to shove in the neo-feudalist society, they're going to be dependent on some strong man. And once that strong man realizes he holds all the cards himself, it's all over.
Well, like, you have to think about it. They envision themselves, like, especially the ones like Peter Thiel with Palantir. He's, like, associated-ish with Yarvin. I mean, I can't confidently call him NRX, but he runs, like, one of the, like, intelligence companies in the world. And now he's, like, even further entrenched in the government along with Musk.
So what would you define as a tech bro? Just somebody who wants to, like, expand technology as much as possible?
It's a very, like, it's a techno-optimism for the sake of techno-optimism, in my mind, at least. Where technology getting better is a means to the end of itself, but they also just assume it will fix all issues, at least for them personally.
Yeah, I guess, okay, that's a pretty reasonable definition, but the thing is, it's interesting to notice is how much the PR of, like, these tech people have fallen off since, like, the 90s and the 2000s, where everyone kind of thought they were good, at least for the most part.
I mean, that is a real possibility. We might look back and say, what were we scared of? But I'm not so optimistic. But
correction.
That's just me as the average Midwesterner. I can't afford to be optimistic. I got a plan for the worst case scenario.
Correction on the Yarvin quote, by the way. It's not sludge biodiesel.
Oh. But yeah, I got a plan for the worst case scenario, because this isn't the first time my people have gotten screwed over by capitalism, and it's probably not going to be the last.
What ethnicity are you? Are you American, or?
I'm from the Midwest.
Oh,
Rust Belt. Your economy's in shambles. You don't have industry anymore. You're swing states.
It took us 40 years for Joe Biden to throw us an Intel plant as a bone, and we're still waiting for it to be finished getting built.
Hey, William, I am wondering what state you live in, if you're willing to say.
Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Earlier we were talking about Nazis.
Oh yeah, I'm really proud of my state today. Cincinnati, I see you. I see what you did. Good work, guys.
What did Cincinnati do?
They drove out Blood Tribe.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Neo-Nazi organization.
But no, I mean, like, how do they? What do you mean? How do they do it?
They beat them up and took their flag.
Holy shit!
They captured their colors.
Basically, remember how last year there was those neo-Nazis that had the black flags with the red swastikas?
Yeah, I remember
Well,
hearing
they
about that.
showed up again, but they showed up right outside, but the bridge they set up on, and this is how you know they weren't locals or from the region, because the bridge they set up on was outside one of the blackest neighborhoods in Cincinnati. And being Ohioans, they weren't having any of it. None of it whatsoever.
Democracy at work. Balance
Honestly,
out the factions by having them fight each other.
I kind of wish they didn't burn the flag, but they kept it in like a bar as a trophy.
This is literally a fucking like Battle of Waterloo over here, just capturing the colors.
Yeah, like whenever I see like videos of those Patriot Front guys marching, I kind of just want to steal their colors, like I'm like from the 17th century.
We need to bring back keeping flags as trophies. That is such an high art form.
It's really
When
good. It was a good thing that you weren't with us at the March for Life then, because you probably would have tried to grab one of the flags on the Patriot Front.
I would have tried to yoink one. I would have tried to steal one.
And then me and Will would have just grabbed you. Just no. Actually, no. We're talking about you wouldn't stop him.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
You
stop
wouldn't have
him.
stopped him.
I'd probably be joining him.
Yeah, no. But I'm freaking. I'll tell you what. Me and no. Although that would have been good publicity, though.
Yeah. You forget, Clement. I told both you and Leslie that when the Patriot Front people were trying to pass out things to us, that y'all were way too polite with them.
Yeah, he said it multiple. Like you guys were way too polite. And me and Leslie were no, thank you. Just, we were trying not to be rude. And
And I was just flat out waiting for one of them to talk to me so I could say, I don't take stuff from my granddaddy would have shot.
Yeah, we kind of pushed Will to the inside, so that me and Leslie were on the outside facing them, so that he didn't talk to any of them.
Nobody would. Well, some people would have liked what I had to say, but they certainly would have, and I certainly would have been sorry about it. I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed right now, trying to remember what the name of that town was, or the neighborhood where they tried to set up shop.
Cincinnati area, Lincoln Heights.
Yes, Lincoln Heights. Lincoln Heights. If there's anyone from Lincoln Heights watching this, we see you.
So yeah, it's insane to think that they had it's insane to think that like they had a neo-Nazi march and there were 11 people who were not even from the city. I think it just shows how rare actual neo-Nazis are in this country. Right? They did this march. They had 10 people, most of them not even from the area.
Well, here's the thing. Like, they've always did this. Like, the thing that they like doing, they might have chosen Lincoln Heights intentionally to try to get their, like, persecution complex up. Because this is what the American National Socialist Party in the 70s tried to do through Skokie, which Skokie was majority Holocaust survivor.
I remember hearing about that. That was so messed up.
Yeah.
I remember learning about the case.
And they're why Nazis appear in the Blues Brothers.
I have a question. What road did the protest happen on? It was Glendale Milford Road, right?
If I remember correctly, it was on an overpass that was like looking over an interstate. That way they had their flags and all their stuff looking down at the interstate.
Over
And
I-75.
All the people in Lincoln Heights just joined them on the bridge, and since they were on the bridge, they were cornered and pretty much could go nowhere.
Actually, I'm trying to find this on Google Maps where that protest happened. I think it was it could have been Shepherd Lane.
No, it was like whatever overpasses over I-75 near Lincoln Heights.
I mean, there's probably quite a few of them.
I think... Didn't Blood Tribe also just randomly show up in Kentucky? Like, I swear that they just kind of go around in caravans, just appearing places. Like, actually, no, Nazis have done this, like, forever, because I remember reading this in the Nazi Seizure of Power. Fascinating book. It dissects a small town's, like, how they voted throughout, like, 1929 to around 1933. And the Nazis would basically just get all the farmers, like, kids that were just bored and joined the SA to come march through town. Compared to getting people who were in town, because no one in town wanted to be a member of the SA. And hang out their, like, weird abandoned factory.
So basically, they do the same thing that white supremacists in the 21st century do. They take advantage of young, impressionable kids that have nothing better to do.
Yeah, that's all extremism. And like most gangs.
Yeah.
Like...
The problem is when people don't grow out of it.
Oh yeah, well, like, the thing is that, like, it's more like extremists either try to recruit from children, like we see that now, like, again, past couple of shooters I've read about, like, have at least had some online radicalization. Most of it's been neo-Nazi leaning. And those, like, neo-Nazis now intentionally go out of their way to recruit children. There's also a whole thing where the American Nazi Party and their COINTEL profiles were arrested for trying to pick up chicks. By chicks, I mean high school girls in their fucking Nazi uniform. These guys were like 30, 35.
What the?
Yeah.
Please tell me they got arrested.
Oh yeah, no, they got arrested. That's why it's in their COINTEL profiles.
Why
Oh,
is like so much of politics and like the high business and all this just like underlying pedophiles? Like, why is this like a constant theme?
My theory is that, like, the current age encourages a kind of sociopathy. Which makes, like, there's a study on pedophilia that I read a bit ago, where most pedophiles that have been arrested or incarcerated, they're not true pedophiles. They are not solely attracted to children, but they're opportunistic. And people who get...
more so they do it because they want to abuse the power and authority that they are afforded.
They want to abuse someone. Children is like a child is easy to abuse because a child doesn't know how to, talk for themselves or self-advocate in the same way an adult would if the same thing happened. And like power now, power has always been a kind of corrupting force. That's why we have decadent leadership every once in a while throughout history. But power now is like especially decadent because when you have power under capitalism, you're just expected to keep consuming at the same rate.
So
I don't
what
know.
the saying is that we'll cook you the way.
Yeah, no, like we live in an age of materialism and soullessness.
And it's disgusting. Some days I wonder if I'm a good enough Christian, but then I look at the rest of the world and I say, I'm doing just fine.
It could be so much worse.
Exactly. I could be so much worse.
Yeah. It could be. Things could also just be so much worse as well.
Yeah. One of those things. I'm not satisfied. I still think I have room to grow as a human being, but I can be happy with where I am relative.
Yeah, like I'm just still thinking about like how one of the kind of going back to the Yarvanites earlier, like one of their background philosophers is Evola to some degree. With the idea of the Kali Yuga, and we are just kind of living through people who want to act out the Kali Yuga.
If I remember correctly, the Kali Yuga is a Hindu concept referring to the era, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
the
like
Kali Yuga is supposed to be the longest, darkest, and evilest era.
Yeah.
The notion of being stuck in the Kali Yuga being that, and people wanting to act on the Kali Yuga is we're basically stuck in a time that rewards evil, and everyone wants to be rewarded for being evil.
Yeah, and that's where people like the earlier in the episode mentioned like Order of Nine Angles come in. They're also evil ones. And the like Yarvanite libertarian decadence of neo-reactionary ideology for the most part also plays into that. Hell, I've seen even like MAGA communists starting to use the terms like Kali Yuga. Like, I don't know what's going on anymore.
I feel I part of me still wants to tell myself that all these people are fucking like on the fringe because it's like I just don't understand how it's like taking over so much, and it's like whether you believe in it or agree with it or not, it's just it's strange that this is becoming like the norm increasingly.
Welcome to the meta-modern age where you can be ironically genuine at any moment.
And people wonder why, I'm becoming more antisocial, especially with politics.
Not
see-
to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but since you mentioned you don't know what's going on and why everyone seems to be obsessed with the Kali Yuga, what if it's some kind of neo-pagan resurgence? Because there seems to be a lot of that as of late.
That's people desperately grasping around for belief, or trying to make a religion out of other existing beliefs, like white supremacists and Norse religion. But
I refuse to believe there are any real pagans.
there are real pagans. It just depends.
Most genuine pagans, quote unquote, are just using it to try and justify the racial beliefs.
Well, I'm talking about Wiccans, which for the most part are semi-progressive,
Well, I
Just
don't
kinda
even
people.
I don't consider Wiccans to be real pagans either.
and also Anon in the chat is also a pagan.
But the reason I've tried to what's the word I'm looking for? I've noticed a lot of these people, and one of the things I've noticed about them is they also tend to be very revisionist of pagan ideas and pagan cultures. And so I feel like that's the main issue with modern neo-pagans, that we forever are seeing these ideas and these basically recreations of these religions and their beliefs, but only from a post-Christian perspective. We can never, and that's why they're neo-pagan and not true pagan, because we can never truly experience them as the people who created these originally could.
Well, yeah, because they were completely exterminated by the Christians.
They didn't.
Well,
They
mostly
weren't
Christians.
exterminated. They converted.
This is
I
yeah.
mean the beliefs, not the people. The belief system was exterminated.
Well, they
Right.
cut down that tree, and that was really upsetting.
It's like, for me, most pagans I hear about, it's either I don't mean to offend Anon or most pagans, though. I don't know. Maybe you can enlighten me at some other point. But it's either they're doing it out of they're just anti-Christian and they want to be allowed to do whatever they want, regardless of Jesus, or more specifically Christian, because Christians are annoying and oppressive or whatever. Or B, they're using it just to justify the racial superiority. It's Odin has given Odin is my god, and that's why the Nordic people are racially superior.
We don't believe in this Jewish God that the Jews have pushed upon us. We believe in the real traditional, the Roman God. We believe in the Woden. Don't you understand it, you Jews?
It looks inside. It's just Gnosticism repainted.
Yeah.
Because most of this Nazi pagan stuff, because they're not even pagans in a pagan sense. They just kind of somehow always circle back around to Gnosticism. I don't know why. They just do it.
Gnosticism just refuses to die time and time again. It is the eternal evil.
Yeah, I mean, I have one of my best friends is a Gnostic.
I'm finding more
argue with him on
Gnostics
that.
around in life, and it's just and it's so strange too, because it's the people I'm finding who are Gnostics are the people you wouldn't expect. I mean, it's they were, I've had people revealed to me before, they go full face, full mask off, and it's holy shit, man. Obviously they don't say that to their face, but it's oh my god,
The
I thought
thing
you were just
We need to
a
stop
regular
this
guy,
Plato
and you
thing.
all,
The thing about Gnosticism is Gnosticism isn't always necessarily a belief system. It is also simply partly a mindset. And so you could be Gnosticist on accident too. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, there's that kind of Gnosticism, but also being a genuine Gnostic, where it's you theologize Plato, and you're talking about the pleroma and the Godhead. Those are getting more common, genuine Gnostics. Because Gnosticism also kind of entered our pop culture with Madame Helena Blavatsky giving the West karma and dharma as we kind of conceive of do good things or you'll be punished. which was kind of a Christianization of karma, or Westernization, I should say.
You're right about that, yeah.
I don't know. As a Christian, I think we're entering a new Christianity seems to go through cycles where we go through very, very intense struggles. First under Rome, then under the first caliphates, and then the Vikings. I feel like we're entering another one of the cycle.
I feel as if what we're gonna see, maybe more pagans, but I think we're just gonna definitely see more cults. Like, not even just specific to pagan or non-pagan. It's just like, generally there's gonna be a bunch of religious, political, theological, there's just gonna be a lot of cults. People are gonna be looking for identity and community, and they're gonna be desperate, and they're gonna latch on to anything, especially as things start to rot.
I agree with that statement. I can see the psychology or the sociology behind it right now in life.
Well, while the world falls around us, it is important to keep the faith. And with that, if we have no other closing thoughts, I think it's time for our closing prayer.
I maintain that we need an Emperor Diocletian to fix it, to fix everything. Take that how you will.
Anyone
I don't
else
like Diocletian.
Thoughts? None heard? Please join me in prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you for joining us this evening on Monarchist Minute. We hope to see you same time, same place next week. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to this on Spotify or another streaming service, hit subscribe, hit follow, hit whatever they call it, that you get the notifications for when we send our next episode. Follow us on social media, get a hold of us via email or direct if you want to help out the cause, or you can join us on Discord, that works too. But until next time, may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you, and good night.